Have you ever felt like you were running on a treadmill, sprinting as fast as you can, but never actually getting anywhere? Maybe you've looked around and wondered why some people seem to make money so effortlessly, as if they're playing a different game with a secret set of rules. Let me tell you something that might sound almost unbelievable. There is a way to make money like you're cheating, but it's not a trick, a scam, or some secret hack that only the rich know. It's a shift in your entire way of thinking, a transformation so profound that once you see it, you can't unsee it. Welcome to CEO Thoughts. I started out with nothing, in fact, less than nothing. My background was humble, my mistakes were many, and for a long time, I was haunted by the belief that people like me were destined to watch others succeed from the sidelines. I chased money desperately, believing that if I just worked harder, longer, and sacrificed more, someday I'd finally make it. But the harder I ran, the further away that finish line seemed to get. Maybe you know exactly what I mean. Then something happened. It wasn't an overnight miracle, but a slow, almost painful realization. The people who seemed to cheat the system weren't actually breaking any rules. They were playing a completely different game, one where the rules themselves were invisible to most of us. They weren't chasing money at all. Instead, they were chasing something deeper, something that actually mattered to other people. They were obsessed with building value, with solving real problems, with making themselves indispensable. And as a side effect, money started chasing them. Here's the truth no one tells you. Money is a shadow. It follows value everywhere it goes, but it never leads. If you spend your life running after money, you'll always be one step behind, exhausted and frustrated. But if you become the kind of person who creates value, who makes life easier, faster, or better for others, money will start to follow you, sometimes so quickly that it feels almost unfair. That's the real cheat code of wealth. Let's pause for a moment. Ask yourself, when was the last time you asked, how can I make myself truly useful to others? Not just, how can I make more money, but how can I become so valuable that people can't ignore me? This is the question that changes everything. It's the starting point of every sustainable fortune, every lasting success story, because people will always pay, sometimes handsomely, for someone who saves them time, solves their pain, or opens doors they couldn't open themselves. But here's where the story gets even more interesting. The moment you stop obsessing over money and start obsessing over value, your entire relationship with work, success, and even happiness changes. Suddenly, you're not just trading hours for dollars. You're building something bigger than yourself, a reputation, a brand, a legacy, and the world starts to respond in ways you never expected. Opportunities appear, people reach out, your name gets recommended in rooms you've never entered. It's almost as if, by shifting your focus, you've unlocked a hidden level in the game of life. I know this sounds almost magical, even suspicious, but it's not magic. It's the result of a fundamental law. Value attracts money. The more value you create, the more money you'll attract, sometimes in ways you couldn't have planned or predicted. So the next time you see someone who seems to make money like they're cheating, look closer. Chances are they've simply mastered the art of value creation. And you can too. If this idea is already making you rethink everything, imagine what's coming next. Because over the next few minutes, I'm going to show you exactly how to rewire your thinking, develop the skills that matter, and step into a world where money chases you, not the other way around. Before we dive deeper, don't forget to hit subscribe to CEO Thoughts. Your support means the world to me and gives me the motivation to keep bringing you powerful, game-changing insights every week. Now, here's a question for you, a little test of your mindset. Be honest and drop your answer in the comments. Which question do you think leads to greater wealth in the long run? A. How can I earn more money this month? B. How can I become more valuable to others every day? Type A or B in the comments below, and let's see how many of you are ready to play the game differently. There's a moment in every journey to success when you realize that raw ambition alone isn't enough. Desire, drive, even a relentless work ethic. These are not the currencies that buy you a seat at the table of true wealth. What truly opens doors and keeps them open is your ability to solve real problems for real people. And that ability is built, not born. The world doesn't reward generalists who know a little about everything. It rewards those who have honed a skill so sharp, so refined, that it cuts through the noise and delivers undeniable value to a specific group of people. Ask yourself, with brutal honesty, what can you do better than most? Where does your natural curiosity intersect with a genuine market need? The answer isn't always obvious. It might not be the flashiest or most glamorous skill, but it must be something that matters, something that, if mastered, would make you indispensable to someone, somewhere. Maybe it's the ability to simplify complex ideas, to sell with empathy, to design solutions that save time or money, or to create experiences that people remember and talk about. The first step is to identify this intersection between your strengths and the world's needs. Once you've found it, the real work begins. The myth of overnight expertise is just that, a myth. Mastery is a journey, and it demands a level of commitment that most people simply aren't willing to give. But here's where the game has changed. Never before in history has it been so easy to access the tools, knowledge, and mentors you need to accelerate your growth. Artificial intelligence, online courses, global communities, and an endless stream of tutorials are at your fingertips. The gatekeepers are gone. The only barrier left is your own willingness to show up, day after day, and put in the work. But don't fall into the trap of passive learning. Watching videos, reading books, and collecting certificates might feel productive, but real expertise is forged in the fire of action. You must practice deliberately, seek out feedback that stings, and be willing to fail again and again until your skill becomes second nature. The process is rarely glamorous, it's often uncomfortable, but every hour spent wrestling with your craft is an investment, compounding silently until one day the world recognizes you as an expert. There's a reason most people quit before they reach this point. The path to mastery is littered with moments of doubt, boredom, and frustration. It's tempting to give up, to switch tracks, or to settle for good enough. But if you want to reach the place where money finds you, where opportunities appear without you having to chase them, you must keep going long after the initial excitement fades. True professionals are separated from amateurs not by talent, but by persistence. They endure the monotony, the setbacks, and the slow progress because they understand that excellence is a marathon, not a sprint. And then, almost imperceptibly, something shifts. You stop chasing clients, they start seeking you out. Your reputation begins to precede you. People talk about your work, recommend you in conversations you're not even part of, and trust you with their most important challenges. You become the go-to expert, the one people think of first and sometimes the only one they'll consider. This is the tipping point where your years of focused effort transform into effortless attraction. Suddenly, you're not competing on price or begging for attention. You're setting the terms, choosing your projects, and commanding respect. But let's be clear. Becoming a true expert doesn't mean you stop learning. In fact, the best in any field are obsessed with continuous improvement. They use every new tool, every piece of feedback, every challenge as fuel for growth. They understand that expertise isn't a destination, it's a lifelong pursuit. The world changes, industries evolve, and what made you valuable yesterday might be obsolete tomorrow. So they stay hungry, humble, and always a little bit uncomfortable, because that's where growth lives. In the end, building a valuable skill is the most reliable way to unlock the unfair advantages of wealth and freedom. It's not about luck, shortcuts, or being in the right place at the right time. It's about becoming so good at solving a meaningful problem that the world cannot ignore you. And when you reach that level, you'll discover that the path to prosperity was never about chasing money. It was about becoming the person for whom money is simply a byproduct of undeniable value. One of the most profound shifts you can make in your journey from mere competence to true mastery, and ultimately to prosperity, is to fundamentally change the way you think about pricing your work. For most people, the default is to measure value in hours. They sell their time, their presence, their effort. This is the logic of the employee, the freelancer stuck in a cycle of trading hours for dollars, always limited by the number of hours in a day. But if you truly want to step into the realm of those who seem to cheat the system, you must leave this thinking behind. The real game is played on an entirely different field, the field of value and outcomes. Consider for a moment what your clients or customers truly care about. They don't care about how many hours you spend hunched over your desk or how many late nights you pull. What matters to them is the result, the transformation you deliver, the problem you solve, the pain you take away. Your worth, then, is not a function of your time, but of your impact. This understanding is not just liberating, it's transformative. It allows you to break free from the invisible ceiling that limits those who charge by the hour, and to step into a space where your income is defined by the magnitude of the problems you can solve. To do this, you must build your work around clear, measurable outcomes. This requires more than technical skill. It demands strategic thinking, empathy, and the courage to make promises you can keep. You need to design a process that consistently delivers results, one that you can explain, defend, and, most importantly, stand behind. This clarity of process is what allows you to look a client in the eye and say, "This is what I will do for you. This is the outcome you can expect, and this is why it's worth the investment." You are no longer selling a commodity. You are offering a solution, a resolution, a breakthrough. When you solve a problem that truly matters, the value you create is often exponential. compared to the effort you expend. Imagine helping a business owner double their revenue, or saving a client hundreds of hours of frustration, or enabling someone to reach a goal that once seemed out of reach. The price you can command in these moments is no longer tethered to the clock. Clients will gladly pay a premium for certainty, for excellence, for results that move the needle in their lives or businesses. This is why the true experts, those who have mastered the art of outcome-based value, often work less but earn far more than those who are still counting hours. But there's another dimension to this shift, one that is just as important as the results you deliver. It's the way you are perceived, the reputation you build, the brand that becomes synonymous with trust and transformation. Building a personal brand is not about self-promotion for its own sake. It's about consistently showing up as someone who delivers on their promises, who cares deeply about the client's success, and who is always improving. Every interaction, every project, every piece of feedback is an opportunity to reinforce your value and distinguish yourself from the crowd. As your reputation grows, something remarkable happens. You become irreplaceable. Clients stop comparing you to others based on price alone. They come to you because they believe, often with absolute certainty, that you are the one who can deliver the result they need. In this space, you have the freedom to set your own terms, to choose your projects, and to work with those who value your contribution. You are no longer at the mercy of the market. You are shaping it, defining your own worth, and attracting opportunities that align with your strengths. None of this is easy. It requires courage to move away from the comfort of hourly billing, to take responsibility for outcomes, and to continually invest in your own growth and your client's experience. But the rewards are extraordinary. When you build your work around value and results, you unlock a level of freedom, fulfillment, and prosperity that simply isn't available to those who sell their time. You become a creator of value, a trusted partner, and ultimately a leader in your field. And that is the true foundation of lasting, meaningful wealth. True wealth is not measured by the occasional windfall, nor by the fleeting satisfaction of a large payment that arrives and disappears just as quickly. It is measured by the quiet, steady rhythm of cash flow, by the assurance that your needs, your ambitions, and even your dreams can be met not just today, but tomorrow and every day after. This is the difference between temporary riches and enduring prosperity. The ability to create, sustain, and manage a predictable stream of income that supports your goals and shields you from life's inevitable uncertainties. Building this foundation of sustainable wealth requires a deliberate shift in how you approach your work and your finances. It is not enough to chase projects or clients in a never-ending cycle of feast and famine. Instead, you must design your business, your career, or your systems in a way that generates recurring, reliable income. This could mean developing products or services that people need on an ongoing basis, building long-term client relationships based on trust and results, or investing in assets that yield consistent returns. The key is predictability, the ability to look ahead and know, with reasonable certainty, what resources will be available to you. With this stability, you gain the freedom to plan, to invest, and to expand your horizons without the constant fear of running out. But the mechanics of cash flow are only half the story. Equally important is how you manage what you earn, how you steward your resources, make decisions, and build habits that protect and grow your wealth over time. Financial management is not about denying yourself pleasure or living in a state of constant restriction. Rather, it is about clarity, discipline, and self-respect. It is the willingness to look honestly at your numbers, to track your income and expenses, and to make adjustments before small leaks become serious problems. Regularly reviewing your finances is not a chore, but an act of self-care, a way to honor your efforts and ensure that your hard-won gains are not lost to neglect or impulse. In a world obsessed with comparison, it is easy to measure your progress against the visible successes of others. But true financial mastery is deeply personal. It is not about matching someone else's pace or style, but about understanding your own needs, values, and opportunities. The most powerful use of money is not to impress, but to empower, to create options, to support those you care about, and to invest in experiences or ventures that matter to you. Focus on optimizing your own resources. Cut unnecessary expenses, automate your savings, and direct your surplus toward investments that align with your long-term vision. Every small improvement compounds over time, quietly building a safety net and eventually a springboard for greater things. Saving is not merely about accumulation, it is about preparation. It is the buffer that allows you to weather setbacks, seize opportunities, and make decisions from a place of strength rather than desperation. Learn to save not just what is left over, but as a priority, an essential part of every financial decision. And when it comes to investing, approach it with humility and curiosity. The goal is not to chase quick wins, but to build a portfolio of assets that generate value, support your lifestyle, and grow with you. Whether it's real estate, stocks, your own business, or another vehicle, invest with intention and patience. Ultimately, sustainable wealth is not a destination, but a practice, a way of living that balances ambition with prudence, growth with security, and pleasure with purpose. It is the quiet confidence that comes from knowing you are in control of your financial destiny, no longer at the mercy of luck or circumstance. When you master the flow of money in and out of your life, you unlock not only stability, but also the freedom to pursue your highest aspirations. And that, in the end, is the real measure of wealth: the ability to live on your own terms with clarity, dignity, and peace of mind. Money, at its core, is simply a tool, a powerful one, but never the destination itself. It is easy to be swept up in the pursuit of wealth for its own sake, to measure your worth or happiness by the numbers in your account. Yet, the real purpose of money is far more profound. It is meant to serve you to buy back your most precious resource, time, and to create the freedom to live a life aligned with your deepest values. When you begin to see money as a means rather than an end, you unlock a new level of clarity and agency over your life. The most meaningful use of money is to reclaim your time and elevate your quality of living. This might mean investing in services or systems that liberate you from routine, repetitive tasks, whether that's hiring support, outsourcing household chores, or leveraging technology to automate tedious processes. Each hour you free up is an opportunity to redirect your energy toward what genuinely matters: nurturing your relationships, pursuing creative endeavors, deepening your expertise, or simply being present for the moments that give life its richness. In this way, money becomes a lever, multiplying your capacity and allowing you to focus on the pursuits that bring you joy and fulfillment. It is not selfish to invest in support, nor is it a sign of weakness to delegate. On the contrary, it is an act of wisdom and self-respect. By surrounding yourself with capable people and efficient systems, you create space for growth, both professionally and personally. You become the architect of your own life, able to design your days around your strengths, your passions, and the people you love. The true luxury is not in possessing more, but in experiencing more. More freedom, more creativity, more connection, and more meaning. But there is a deeper joy that comes from the process itself, the journey of earning, creating, and building. Too often, the pursuit of money is framed as a sacrifice, a necessary grind endured for some distant reward. Yet, when you align your work with your passions and innate abilities, the act of making money can become a source of genuine pleasure. It transforms from a burden into a game, where every challenge is a chance to learn, every milestone a testament to your growth. In this mindset, success is not a finish line, but a continuous unfolding, and each day becomes an opportunity to play, to experiment, and to become more fully yourself. This is the most extraordinary shortcut available to us, not in the sense of cutting corners, but in discovering that the path itself can be as rewarding as any destination. When you love what you do, when your work is an authentic expression of your talents and values, financial rewards follow naturally. The journey becomes its own reward, and the line between labor and leisure begins to blur. You find yourself waking up with anticipation, eager to meet the day not just for what you might earn, but for who you might become. To truly cheat the system in the most honest way, you must cultivate this harmony between purpose and prosperity. It is not about hustling endlessly or sacrificing your well-being for the sake of accumulation. Instead, it is about making intentional choices, investing in yourself, valuing your time, and seeking out opportunities that resonate with your unique gifts. It means celebrating your progress, savoring your achievements, and allowing yourself to enjoy the fruits of your labor without guilt or hesitation. In the end, the journey to effortless wealth is less about external tactics and more about a profound internal shift. It is about changing your relationship with money, redefining success on your own terms, and finding delight in the process of growth. When you approach life with this mindset, you discover that the greatest reward is not the money itself, but the freedom, fulfillment, and joy you create along the way. And that, ultimately, is the true art of living well.